Facebook because there is a little problem. It is not showing on the Facebook. So I am not sure if it is coming live on the Facebook as yet. Because this morning I was searching for the icon on the status for the live streaming. But I still put it on and see that if it is recording on streaming live on Facebook. We are coming to you live via YouTube and Skype, that I am sure. Facebook I am not sure as yet. Traditional yoga and Tantra. What is the difference between the two? Tantra and the traditional yoga. Both Tantra and traditional yoga reach the same goal, but their paths are different. They are not only different, but contrary as well. That is why it is very important to understand it very clearly. Yoga process is also a methodology and a technique as well. Yoga is not philosophy, just like Tantra. Yoga depends on action, method, and technique. And then doing leads to being in yoga as well. But the process is different. In yoga, one has to fight. It is the path of warrior. On the path of Tantra, one does not have to fight at all. On the contrary, one has to indulge, but with awareness. That is one of the basic difference. Tantra is the path for warriors. One has to fight. Yoga is suppression with our awareness. Tantra is indulgence with awareness. Tantra says whatsoever you are, the ultimate is not opposite to it. The God is not opposite to it. It is a growth. You can grow to be the ultimate. There is no opposition between you and the ultimate reality. You are part of it. So no struggle, no conflict. No opposition is needed. Nothing is needed as far as Tantra is concerned. The difference between Tantra and traditional yoga. The two reach to the same goal, but their paths are different. Not only different, but they are contrary to one another. Tantra is the path of indulgence with awareness. Yoga is the path of suppression with awareness. Doing leads to being in yoga as well, but it is a different path. In yoga, one has to fight, one has to be a warrior. On the path of Tantra, one do not have to fight. Rather, contrary to it, indulge but with awareness. There is no conflict between you and the existence. It is part of growth. You can grow to be ultimate. There is no opposition, therefore, between you and the existence. You are part of it, so no struggle, no conflict, no opposition to nature is needed. You have to use your nature. You have to use whatsoever you are to go beyond. But when there is awareness and whatsoever you are doing it with awareness, you transcend. In yoga, you have to fight with yourself to go beyond. In yoga, the world and moksha, liberation, as you are and as you can be, these are the two opposite things. According to yoga, the world and the moksha or liberation, you as you are and you as you can be, they are opposite things. Suppress, fight, dissolve that which you are, so that you can attain to that which you can be or you want to be. There is a possibility that you can reach to this, so you have to go through the austerity, great fight. Going beyond is a death in yoga. You must die as you are for your real being to be born. Drop dissolving or dying to be the ocean is part of yoga. The drop does not remain as it is, but it becomes ocean. According to Tantra, yoga is deep suicide. You must kill your natural self, the body, your instincts, your desires, everything. The drop loses everything. Its physical existence, its everything it loses. Tantra says, accept yourself as you are. And when you accept, in that state of deep acceptance, the process of transformation begins. Accept yourself. This is deep acceptance. Do not create a gap between you and the real, between the world and the nirvana or liberation. Do not create any gap whatsoever. There is no gap between what you are and what you can be. Whereas in yoga, there is a wide gap between what you are and what you can be. What is your potentiality? There is no gap for Tantra, no death is needed. For your rebirth, no death is needed, rather a transcendence. For this transcendence, you use yourself. For example, sex is there. Of course, consciously will create in you a new center of the being. When you enter into sex consciously, it creates a new center in you. When you fight with it, of course, consciously, then too, the new center will be created in you. A new emphasis, a new crystallization will happen. But in both cases, you have to enter consciously, suppress consciously, or indulge consciously. Normally, when we suppress or we indulge, we are not conscious through it. For yoga, you must fight with this energy. Through fight, you create a different center in yourself. The more you fight, the more integrated you become in a different center. Then sex is not your center. You start operating from a different center. Fighting with sex, of course, consciously will create in you a new center of being, a new emphasis, a new crystallization will happen in you. Then sex will not be your energy. You will create your energy, a new center, by fighting with it. A different energy will come into being, and a different center of existence will be born in you. Tantra says you have to use this energy. There is no need to fight. You have to transform it. Do not think in terms of enmity. It was the energy that was given to you. You did not earn it. And you did not earn it in a wrong way, like some people acquire wealth through illegal methods. Nothing like that exists as far as this energy is concerned. So, according to Tantra, you have to be friendly with it. It is your energy. It is not evil. It is not bad. No energy is bad. Instead, it is natural. It can be used for you. It can be used against you as well. You can make a block of it, a barrier, or you can make it a stepping stone. It is like you are walking on the road to reach somewhere. On the way, you see a barrier, a few pieces of stones. You can consider it as a barrier and return from there. Or you can use those stones as a stepping step. You can stand up there, look around. You may find a little space on the side to cross over, or you can gently step over the stones to reach to the other side. It can be used, and when it is used rightly, it becomes friendly, and when it is used wrongly, it becomes your enemy. But it is neither enemy nor friend. It is just neutral. As ordinary man is using sex, it becomes an enemy. It destroys him. It simply dissipates in it. Yoga takes the opposite view, opposite to the ordinary mind. The ordinary mind is being destroyed by its own desires. So yoga says, stop desiring, be desireless, fight every desire that arises in you, create an integration in you, and this integration is desireless. So as you can see, both are reaching the same place, but their technique, their paths are not only different, but contrary to one another. Tantra says, yoga says, suppress your desire. Tantra says, be aware of the desire. You do not need to fight. Move in desire with full consciousness. It is said that the kind of oils and these things are used in cooking, they are not healthy. But if you enter into it consciously, the poison will become nectar for you. And once in a while, you can challenge your body, consciously enter into you. And sometimes it is said poison is also necessary for living. In homeopathic, there are two types of poisons, the medicines, these are poisonous, which are necessary to enhance the lives. Arsenium and mercurium. Exact name I do not know, but they are substances, the essences of arsenic and mercury. Move in desire with full awareness, and when you move into desireness with consciousness, you transcend it. You are into it, and in a way you are not in it. It becomes a door. You are standing at the threshold. You are neither in nor out. You are simply passing through it. The same way a desire is there for sex, it is a door. You are passing through this door. Passing through this door, you are neither against nor in favor of it. But door is essential to come out of the prison that you in. When you are inside the room, it is like the prison of desire. You have to come out, so you have to use the door. The same door that you have has brought you into the room, the same door will take you out of the door. Yoga appeals much because it is opposite to the ordinary mind. So the ordinary mind can understand the language of yoga much easily. You know how sex is destroying you, how it has destroyed you, how you go on revolving around it like a slave. You are a puppet. You cannot control it. You know this by your experience. So this appeals to you. So when yoga says fight with it, you immediately understand the language. That is the appeal, the easiest appeal of yoga. Tantra cannot be appealing to you easily. It seems difficult. How to move into desire? How to move into desire without being overwhelmed by it? How to be in sex consciously, with full awareness? The ordinary mind becomes afraid because he has the experience of sex. It becomes, to him, to the ordinary mind, it seems dangerous. Not that it is dangerous. Whatsoever you know about sex creates a danger in you. You know yourself. You know how to deceive yourself. You know very well that mind is cunning. You can move into desire in sex, in everything, and you can deceive yourself by saying that you are moving into it consciously. That is why there is danger in it. Danger is not in Tantra. The danger is in you. The appeal of yoga is because of you, because of your ordinary mind, your sex suppressed, sex starved, sex indulging mind. Because the ordinary mind does not think healthy about sex. The ordinary mind is not healthy about sex. So yoga has an appeal. There are many taboos about it. With a better humanity that has a healthy and normal approach towards sex, the things will be different. We are neither normal nor natural. We are absolutely abnormal, unhealthy, and insane as far as sex is concerned. But because everyone is like it, so we do not feel it. When everybody is mad, that madness becomes normal. Everyone thinks in one way, it becomes normal. Madness is normal, so normal that to be not madness is so normal that if you are not mad, you look abnormal. A Buddha is abnormal. A Jesus is abnormal. And abnormal amidst us. Because he thinks differently than you as you think. They do not belong to us. This normalcy of madness is a disease. The normal mind has created the appeal for yoga. If you take sex normal and natural, with no philosophy around it, with no preconceived idea about it, no philosophy for and against it. If you take sex as you take your hand, you do not philosophize anything about your eyes, that eyes are capable of seeing whatsoever comes in front of it. Whether it is food, whether it is a flower, whether it is a sky, or a nude picture, or a well-decorated picture. It is totally normal. If you take sex as you take your hands, your eyes, if it is totally accepted as natural, then Tantra will appeal to you. And only then Tantra can be useful for many. But the days for Tantra are coming. Sooner or later, Tantra will explode for the first time in the masses, as it is happening now. But there is a danger as well. Let us not go into that, because at the moment we are trying to explain the two paths, the path of yoga and the path of Tantra. It is possible. The explosion for Tantra will come from the West because of Sigmund Freud, Carl Gustav Jung, William Reich. In fact, they have prepared the background. They knew nothing about Tantra, but they succeeded in preparing the basic background. They knew nothing of Tantra. Western psychology has come to the conclusion that the basic human disease is somewhere around sex. The basic insanity of man is sex oriented. The basic insanity of man is sex oriented. So unless this sex orientation is dissolved, man cannot be natural. He cannot be normal. Man has gone wrong only because of his attitude towards sex. No attitude is needed. And when there is no attitude, then you can be normal. What attitude you have towards your eyes, towards your nose, towards your hands? That is why your eyes are natural, your hands are natural. Take some attitude and think your eyes are evil. Then seeing will become difficult. Then seeing will take the same problematic shape as sex has taken. Then you will want to see, you will desire, you will hanker to see, but when you see, you will feel guilty. Whenever you see, you will feel guilty that you have done something wrong, that you have sinned, and the more you want to destroy them, the more you will become centered in the eyes. We have considered sex as wrong. It is said, Christians say we are all born in sin. So it has become the center of your life. And when your consciousness becomes centered in the eyes, then you will start a very absurd activity. You will want to see more and more, and simultaneously you will be feeling more and more guilty. The same has happened with the sex center. Tantra says, accept whatsoever you are. This is the basic criteria. Total acceptance is the basic criteria, and only through total acceptance you can grow, you can transcend. Then use all the energy that you have. How can you use them? The first criteria for that is accept them. Find out what these energies are. What is sex? What is this phenomena? Man is not acquainted with it. We know many things about sex. We know many things about sex, which have been taught to you by others. We may have passed through the sex act, but with a guilty mind, a suppressive attitude, in haste, in a hurry. Something has to be done in order to become unburdened of this. Sex act is not a loving act. You are not happy in it, but you cannot leave it. The more you try to leave it, the more attractive it becomes to you. The more you want to negate it, the more you feel invited to it. You see a green pepper, it attracts you. Tantra says there is something about it that you cannot negate it. But this attitude to negate, to destroy, in fact destroys the very mind, the very awareness, the very sensitivity which can understand it. There is a capacity in you to understand things, but your attitude can destroy it. Only a deep sensitivity can understand anything. Only a deep feeling, a deep moving into it can understand anything. You can understand sex only if you move in it as a poet moves amidst the flowers. The poet moves amidst the flowers and composes something. You can move in it as a poet does amidst the flowers. If you feel guilty about the flowers, you may pass through the garden. It will be as if you are walking through the garden with closed eyes. You will be in a hurry, in a deep haste, a mad haste to come out as quickly as possible. Somehow you have to go out of the garden. Then, when such is the attitude, how can you be aware? You want to enter into sex because there is a deep desire and you want to come out of it as quickly as possible. How can there be awareness? Tantra says, accept whatsoever you are. You are a great mystery of many multidimensional energies. Accept it. Move into every energy with deep sensitivity, with awareness, with love, with understanding. Move with it. Then every desire becomes a vehicle to go beyond it. Then any energy that arises in you or you are going through will be helpful to you. And then the very world becomes nirvana. If you consider the other is the cause of your happiness, then you are living in the world. If you consider that this is the cause of your misery, then you can never get rid of it. And with this understanding, the very world will become nirvana. This very body will become temple, a holy temple, a holy place. Yoga is negation, Tantra is affirmation. Yoga is negation, Tantra is affirmation. Yoga thinks in terms of duality, That is the reason for the word yoga comes from the root yuj, to join. It means to put together two things together, to yoke two things together, just as you yoke the horses to the horse-driven carriage. But two things are there. The duality is there. Tantra says there is no duality. If there is duality, you cannot put them together. And howsoever you try, the two will remain two. Howsoever you put them, they will remain always two. The fight will continue. The dualism will remain. If the world and the divine are two, then they cannot be put together. And the reality is they are not two. If they are only appealing to you as two, then you cannot put them together. If they are appearing as two, only then they can be one. If your body and soul are two, then they cannot be put together. If you and God are two, then there is no possibility of putting them together. They will remain two. But if they appear, the appearance, in coin, you see the head and tail, it appears. Tantra says there is no duality and it is only an appearance. So why help appearance to grow stronger? Tantra asks this help, this acceptance of duality, the appearance of duality to go stronger in you. Dissolve it this moment, be one, and that happens through acceptance. And through acceptance alone, you become one, not through the fight. Accept the world, accept the body, everything that is inherent in it. Do not create a different center in yourself, because for Tantra, that different center is nothing else but ego. Do not create an ego. Just be aware of who you are and what you are. It is very difficult to find a yogi who is not egoist. And yogis may go on talking about egolessness, but they are not egoless. The very process of going through fight creates an ego in an individual. This fight is the process. If you fight, ego is bound to arise in you. And the more you fight, the more strengthened the ego gets. Then, if you win over your fight, you will achieve this supreme ego. Tantra says there is no need to fight. And when there is no need to fight, there will not arise any sense of ego in you. If we understand Tantra, there will be many problems. And these problems are because of us. If there is no fight, Instead, there is only indulgence. No fight means indulgence for us. Then we become afraid. We have indulged for lives and lives together, but we have reached nowhere. But for Tantra, indulgence is not our indulgence. Tantra says indulge, but be aware. You are an angry man. Tantra will not say, do not be angry. Tantra will say, be angry wholeheartedly. Now, Raman shows the totality of anger. A man comes to him and inquires about yoga. Raman told him to go within. But the man did not understand. He kept on repeating the same question in many different ways. Each time when he asked, Raman said, go within. The man continued. Raman took his walking stick and chased the man out of it. No one saw him so angry that he shouted at the man and told him to get out of this place. So he chased the man holding the stick in his hand out of the place. The disciples were amazed at this act, but then he returned laughing as if nothing has happened. Tantra is not, this is the way of Tantra. He was not against anger. Tantra is only against spiritual sleepiness, spiritual unconsciousness, and be aware and be angry. And this is the secret of the method. If you are aware that you are angry, then you can never remain angry. And this is what Gurdjieff's father told him. When anger is coming in you, the very quality of anger is that it is now or never. The very quality of sex is at the very moment a tremendous desire arises you, an intense desire arises in you. If you do not fulfill it at that moment, you restrain, it dissolves. And in that very moment, when you are aware of anger, it is transformed, and when it is transformed, it becomes compassion. Tantra says anger is not your enemy. It is compassion, but anger is the seed, and compassion is the fruit. The same anger, the same energy will become suppression. If you fight with it, then there will be no possibility for compassion to arise in you. So if you succeed in fighting, in suppression, you will be a dead man. There will be no anger because you have suppressed it. But at the same time, there will be no compassion in you. If you succeed in your suppression, which is quite possible, which is impossible, but then there will be no sex. And if there is no sex, there will be no love. Because with dead sex, the energy cannot grow into love. So there will be, when there is no love, there is no prayer. When there is no prayer, there is no transcendence. So you will be without sex and without love and prayer as well. And then the whole point is missed, because without love there is no divineness. Without love there is no liberation. Without love there is no freedom. Tantra says that the same energies are to be transformed. It can be said in this way: if you are against the world, then there is no nirvana, there is no liberation for you. Because this world, your world attitude, your approach towards the world has hindered it. It has to be transformed into nirvana. Then you are against the basic energies which are the source. So the alchemy of Tantra says, do not fight, be friendly with all the energies that are given to you. You do not fight with the water supply lines, different taps in your house. One is in the kitchen, through which the filter water comes in. One is in the restroom, the other is in the washroom, and so on and so forth. Every one of these have a utility in your house. That's why you have installed it consciously. A garden tap, a restroom's tap, a tap in the shower, a tap in the wash basin, a tap in the garage, a tap in the kitchen. All these you have done it consciously. So if God be the man, He has installed these different taps from which the energy begins to flow consciously. But you do not know. Just as you have done this properly, install the electrical outlets and the water supply outlets consciously, but your son does not know about it. So he makes a mess out of the system. So what happened? God has created these things consciously in you, different outlets, but being in the image without understanding, you have created a mess out of this. Tantric alchemy says, do not fight, be friendly with it. All the energies are given to you. Welcome them, feel grateful that you have anger, you have sex, you have greed. Feel grateful because these are the hidden sources, these are the seeds. They can be transformed, they can be opened. And when sex is transformed, it becomes love. When love is transformed, it becomes prayer. When prayer is transformed, you are under the open sky. The poison is lost. The ugliness is lost. The seed is ugly. But when it becomes alive, it sprouts and flowers. Only then you can see the beauty of it. Sex is the seed. Allow it to grow into you. You do not throw away the seed, because if you throw the seed, you are throwing the flowers as well. You are throwing the fruits as well. Without the seed, there can be no flower, no fruits. The seeds has the flowers and fruits in an unmanifest form. They are there. Use this seed so that you can attain to flower. So first, you have to accept the seed, then plant it plant it consciously in a proper method with a sensitive understanding and awareness. Then and only then indulgence is allowed. One thing more, which is really very strange. But one of the deepest diversities of Tantra is whatsoever you take as your enemy, be it greed, be it anger, be it hate, be it sex, whatsoever, your attitude, they are enemies. It is your attitude that makes them your enemies. Take them as divine gifts and approach them with a grateful heart. For example, Tantra has developed many techniques for the transformation of sexual energy. Approach the sex as if you are approaching the temple of divine. Approach the sex act as it is a prayer. It is meditation. Feel the holiness of it. Then it will transform you. I'll continue this in the tomorrow's session, a little more about it, so that with a deep understanding you can go through it and then continue with this. There is something which I had been trying to solve. There are many questions. Seekers from all over, they are asking the questions. And it is becoming difficult to respond those questions in writing form. So I have decided on Mondays, I will respond to the questions and other odd items. I have also started sharing the excerpts from India, the Light of the Being. 2 of the sessions have been recorded. Now I will be going into the education, the dimension of the inner. What does the education, that education is the dimension of inner, implies? Why is it so important? So sometimes during the weekdays, whenever I get an opportunity, I will record these and post. For the sake of the seekers, they can access it through the Facebook or through the YouTube. So until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.